I stood in front of the full-length mirror, still wearing my wedding dress, and watched mascara-stained tears roll down my cheeks. 3 hours ago, I was the happiest woman alive. Now I felt like I was drowning in white tulle and broken promises. My name is Sophia, and this was supposed to be the most romantic night of my life. Instead, I'm locked in the bathroom of our honeymoon suite, trying to process the words my new husband just spoke. I'm in love with your sister. The words keep echoing in my head, each repetition feeling like a fresh slap across my face. Jeremy had been drinking. Not enough to be drunk, just enough to loosen his tongue. We'd barely made it through the door of our suite when he dropped this bomb. Sophia? Jeremy's voice came through the door, accompanied by soft knocking. Baby, please come out. We need to talk about this. How long? I managed to choke out, loud enough for him to hear. A pause. What? How long have you been in love with Shiloh? Another pause, longer this time. Since before the engagement. The sob that escaped my throat didn't sound human. I thought about Shiloh's face at the wedding, how she'd hugged me so tightly before the ceremony, telling me how happy she was for me. Had she known? Have you been sleeping with her? No. God, no, Sophia. I would never. But you're in love with her? I cut him off, my voice stronger now. Anger was beginning to replace the shock. I tried to fight it. I thought getting married would help me forget about her. I yanked the door open so hard it slammed against the wall. Jeremy stumbled back, his bow tie hanging loose around his neck, his wedding suit wrinkled. You thought getting married would help you forget about my sister? The words came out as a hiss. You used me as therapy? That's not what I meant. Then what did you mean, Jeremy? Please enlighten me about how marrying me was supposed to cure your feelings for my little sister. He reached for me, but I stepped back. Don't touch me. Don't you dare touch me. Sophia, please. We can work through this. We can get counseling. I laughed, and it sounded hollow even to my own ears. Counseling? You just told me you've been in love with my sister since before you proposed to me. There's nothing to work through. My hands were steady as I reached up to remove my veil. The diamond ring on my finger caught the light, and suddenly I couldn't bear to look at it. I pulled it off and placed it on the marble counter. Sophia. I'm calling Mara to pick me up, I said, reaching for my phone. And tomorrow I'm calling a lawyer. Don't do this, Jeremy pleaded. Think about what people will say. A divorce after one day? Oh, now you care about what people will say? I spun around to face him. Did you care about what people would say when you walked me down the aisle, knowing you were in love with my sister? His face crumpled. I never meant to hurt you. But you did. And you hurt Shiloh too, whether you realize it or not. I typed out a quick message to Mara, my hands still surprisingly steady. You've ruined everything. Not just our marriage, but my relationship with my sister, our family's friendships. We can fix this. No, we can't. I grabbed my overnight bag, thankful I hadn't unpacked yet. But I can fix myself. And I will. I changed out of my wedding dress in the bathroom, putting on jeans and a sweater. As I folded the dress into its garment bag, I caught my reflection again. My makeup was ruined, but my eyes were clear now. I'll have my lawyer contact you, I said, walking past Jeremy toward the door. Don't try to contact me or Shiloh. Sophia, please don't go. I paused at the door, my hand on the handle. You know what the worst part is? I actually thought I was the lucky one. I thought I had found true love while Shiloh was still searching. Turns out I was just a placeholder. Before he could respond, I walked out, closing the door softly behind me. In the elevator, I pulled out the divorce papers I'd had drawn up last week, a precaution my intuition had insisted upon, even as I'd told myself I was being paranoid. When I returned to the room an hour later to leave them on the bed beside his sleeping form, I felt nothing but a cold determination. Tomorrow, the real work would begin, the work of rebuilding myself from the ground up. But tonight, as I watched Jeremy's chest rise and fall in peaceful sleep, I made myself a promise. This would be the last time anyone ever made me feel this small. 3 months after my one-day marriage, I sat across from Mara at our favorite coffee shop, stirring my untouched latte. The divorce was final. Money talks, and I'd paid extra to expedite everything. "You need to eat something," Mara said, pushing a croissant toward me. "You've lost too much weight." "I'm fine." I took a small bite to appease her. "Besides, I'm too busy to worry about food. The expansion plans? The expansion plans can wait 5 minutes while you have breakfast with your best friend." Mara reached across the table and grabbed my hand. "Talk to me, Sophia. Really talk to me." I set down my spoon. "I saw Shiloh yesterday, at the grocery store." "Oh God, what happened?" "Nothing. She saw me, I saw her, and we both pretended we didn't exist." I laughed bitterly. Funny how someone can go from being your closest confidant to a stranger in the produce aisle. "Have you told your parents about the real reason for the divorce?" I shook my head. "What's the point? They're already devastated enough. Besides, it would only make things worse for everyone." The bell above the cafe door chimed, and I looked up reflexively. My heart skipped a beat when I saw who had walked in. "Is that Drew?" Mara whispered, following my gaze. "Drew from college?" It was indeed Drew, looking even better than he had in our university days. He caught my eye and did a double take, then broke into a warm smile. "Sophia?" He walked over to our table. "I thought that was you." "Drew, hi." I stood up, accepting his quick hug. "It's been what, 5 years?" "At least." He glanced at the empty chair at our table. "Mind if I join you?" Mara kicked me under the table. "Actually, I was just leaving. Early meeting." She gathered her things with suspicious speed. "Drew, it was great seeing you again." After Mara left, Drew took her seat. "I heard about the divorce, I'm sorry." "News travels fast," I said, trying to keep my tone light. "Small business community." He shrugged. "I've been meaning to reach out, actually. I heard you're expanding your consulting firm?" "Trying to. The market's tough right now. I might have an opportunity for you." He pulled out his business card. "My company's looking for a strategic partner in digital transformation. Would you be interested in pitching?" Before I could respond, my phone buzzed. A text from Trisha, my mentor. "Need to see you ASAP. Important opportunity." "I'd love to hear more," I told Drew, tucking his card into my wallet. "But I have to run. Meeting with my mentor." "Have dinner with me tonight," he said. "We can discuss business and catch up properly." I hesitated only briefly. "Okay, text me the details." 20 minutes later, I walked into Trisha's office. She was on the phone but waved me in. "Perfect timing," she said after hanging up. "You'll never guess who just called me about you." "Who?" "Owen Johnson, Jeremy's business partner." My stomach clenched. "What did he want?" "To hire you. Apparently, their firm is struggling with some major digital infrastructure issues. They need someone who understands both technology and business strategy." "No." I stood up. "Absolutely not." "Sophia, wait." Trisha held up her hand. "I know your history with Jeremy, but this could be huge for your firm. Owen specifically requested you because of your reputation." "My reputation?" I laughed. "You mean the woman who couldn't keep her husband for 24 hours?" "No," Trisha said firmly. "The woman who turned a small consulting practice into one of the most respected firms in the city in less than 3 years. The woman who just won the Innovation in Business Award." I sank back into my chair. "I can't work with Jeremy." "You wouldn't have to. Owen would be your point of contact." She leaned forward. "Sometimes the best revenge is success, Sophia. And sometimes opportunity comes disguised as something we want to run from." My phone buzzed again. A text from Drew with restaurant details for tonight. "I need to think about it," I told Trisha. "Of course." She smiled knowingly. "But don't think too long. Opportunities like this don't come around often." As I left her office, another text came through, this one from an unknown number. It was Shiloh. "We need to talk, please." I deleted the message without responding and pulled out Drew's business card instead. Maybe Trisha was right. Maybe the best revenge wasn't plotting and scheming, but simply becoming so successful that those who hurt you become irrelevant. I typed out a quick response to Drew, confirming dinner. Whatever Owen's offer was, I had a feeling Drew's might be better, both professionally and personally. And right now, better was exactly what I needed. 6 months later, I sat in my newly expanded office, watching the city lights flicker on as dusk settled. The merger with Drew's company had transformed both our businesses and our relationship. My phone buzzed with his message. "Still on for dinner? Have big news." Before I could reply, Kylie, my new business partner, burst into my office. "Sophia, you need to see this." She thrust her tablet at me. On the screen was a local business news article. "Tech firm faces investigation amid financial irregularities." The photo showed Jeremy and Owen leaving their office building, faces grim. "Karma's a beautiful thing," Kylie said, perching on my desk. "I had nothing to do with this," I replied, scanning the article. "No one said you did, but you have to admit the timing is perfect. Your company's soaring while theirs is crashing." My phone buzzed again, this time with a call from Mara. "You're not going to believe what I just heard," she said when I answered. "Shiloh lost her job at the magazine. Apparently she's been showing up late, missing deadlines." "That's not my problem," I said, but something in my chest tightened. "There's more. She and Jeremy have been fighting publicly. Last week at Riverside Restaurant, they caused such a scene that management had to ask them to leave." I ended the call quickly, not wanting to hear more. Success was supposed to make me feel better, not worse. My sister's downfall shouldn't matter to me anymore. "Sophia?" Drew appeared in my doorway, looking sharp in his business suit. "Ready for dinner?" During dinner at our favorite Italian restaurant, Drew couldn't contain his excitement. "The Silicon Valley deal is happening. They want both our companies involved in the expansion." "That's incredible," I said, reaching for his hand across the table. "When do they want to start?" "That's the thing. They want us in California next week for preliminary meetings." He squeezed my hand. "I was thinking maybe we could extend the trip, make it personal as well as professional." Before I could respond, a commotion erupted near the entrance. I turned to see Owen arguing with the maitre d'. "I need to speak with Sophia," Owen was saying, his voice carrying across the restaurant. "It's urgent." Drew started to stand, but I placed a hand on his arm. "I'll handle this." I approached Owen, who looked disheveled. Nothing like the polished businessman I remembered. "Whatever this is, it can wait until business hours." "Jeremy's going to lose everything," Owen said, his voice desperate. "The investigation. We need your help, Sophia. Your expertise could save the company." "My expertise?" I laughed coldly. The same expertise Jeremy dismissed when we were married? When he said my success was just luck? People make mistakes. He knows that now. Yes, they do. And now he's making more of them. I stepped closer, lowering my voice. "Tell Jeremy that karma doesn't need my help. It's doing just fine on its own." As I turned to walk away, Owen grabbed my arm. "Shiloh's pregnant." The words hit me like a physical blow. I pulled my arm free, aware of Drew watching from our table. "Congratulations to them both," I said, my voice steady despite the roaring in my ears. "Now leave before I call security." Back at the table, Drew didn't ask questions. He just poured more wine and said, "About that California trip?" "Yes," I said, surprising both of us. "Let's extend it. I think I need a change of scenery." Later that night in my apartment, I found myself looking at old photos of Shiloh and me as kids. My phone lit up with a text from an unknown number, Jeremy this time. "Please help us, for Shiloh's sake." I blocked the number and opened my laptop instead. The business news was full of speculation about Jeremy and Owen's company. According to inside sources, the investigation was just the tip of the iceberg. My phone rang again. Kylie this time. "Sophia, you won't believe who just reached out to our HR department about a job." Owen's wife. She says she has dirt on both Owen and Jeremy that could help us land their biggest clients. I closed my eyes, thinking about the baby Shiloh was carrying, my niece or nephew. Then I thought about the night Jeremy confessed his love for her, about all the nights I'd cried myself to sleep afterward. Tell HR to set up the interview, I said finally. But make it clear, we're not interested in dirt. We win clients through excellence, not exploitation. After hanging up, I packed my bag for California. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about destroying your enemies. It's about building yourself up so high they can't reach you anymore. And right now, with Drew by my side and my business thriving, I was soaring. The California sun streamed through the conference room windows as I wrapped up my presentation. The Silicon Valley executives were nodding, clearly impressed. Drew squeezed my hand under the table as the CEO stood up. Outstanding, Sophia. We'd like to move forward immediately. Back in our hotel room, Drew popped champagne while I kicked off my heels. You were amazing in there, he said, handing me a glass. My phone buzzed. Kylie's name flashing on the screen. Sophia, turn on the business news. Now. Drew grabbed the remote and suddenly Jeremy's face filled the screen. He looked haggard, standing outside his office building, surrounded by reporters. Allegations of fraud and embezzlement. Mr. Johnson has been taken into custody, and sources say more arrests are pending. Holy shit, Drew whispered. My phone exploded with notifications. Mara, are you watching this? Trisha, call me ASAP. And then a text from my mother. Shiloh's in the hospital. Please come home. I have to go back, I told Drew, already packing my suitcase. I'll come with you. No, stay. Finish the deal. I kissed him quickly. I'll handle this. 6 hours later, I walked into the hospital waiting room. My mother rushed to hug me, her face tear-stained. She's asking for you. What happened? The stress. The baby. She couldn't finish the sentence. I found Shiloh in a private room, curled on her side, looking smaller than I'd ever seen her. When she saw me, her eyes filled with tears. I lost the baby, she whispered. I stood frozen in the doorway, all my carefully constructed walls crumbling. I'm sorry. Jeremy's being arrested tomorrow. She wiped her eyes. He knew what Owen was doing. He helped cover it up. Why are you telling me this? Because I need my sister back. Her voice broke. I know we can never go back to how things were, but I miss you so much it hurts. I sat on the edge of her bed, maintaining distance. You broke my heart, Shiloh. Both of you did. I know, and I'll regret it for the rest of my life. She reached for my hand. But you're the strong one. You always have been. I need your strength now. Before I could respond, my phone rang. Kylie again. Owen's wife just left the interview. Sophia, they were running a Ponzi scheme. Jeremy and Owen were using client funds to cover personal debts. It's worse than anyone thought. I ended the call and looked at my sister. Did you know? She shook her head. I suspected something was wrong, but Jeremy wouldn't tell me anything. He just kept getting more paranoid, more controlling. A nurse appeared with discharge papers. Shiloh's hands shook as she tried to sign them. Where are you going to go? I asked. Mom and Dad's, I guess. I can't go home. Reporters are everywhere. I heard Trisha's voice in my head. Sometimes the best revenge is rising above. I took a deep breath. Come stay with me. Shiloh's head snapped up. What? Not forever, just until you figure things out. I took the papers from her trembling hands and signed where indicated. But we need to be clear, this doesn't fix everything. I know. Back at my apartment, I made up the guest room while Shiloh showered. My phone rang. Drew. The deal's done, he said. How are you holding up? I don't know. I sank onto my couch. Drew, I let Shiloh stay with me. A pause. Are you sure that's wise? No, but she's still my sister. And that's why I love you, he said softly. It was the first time he'd said those words. Before I could respond, breaking news alerts flooded my phone. Jeremy had been arrested trying to flee the country. The company was declaring bankruptcy. Thousands of clients' savings were gone. Shiloh emerged from the guest room wearing borrowed pajamas. "I saw the news," she said quietly. "I keep thinking about what you said at the wedding, about being the lucky one. I was so stupid, Sophia. I threw away the best sister in the world for a man who turned out to be a criminal." I looked at her. Really looked at her. The designer clothes and perfect makeup were gone. She was just my little sister again. Lost and broken. "We can't go back," I said finally. "But maybe we can go forward." My phone buzzed with another message from Drew. "Coming home tomorrow. We'll figure this out together." Looking at my sister's tear-stained face, I realized something important. True revenge isn't about watching your enemies fall. It's about being strong enough to stay standing when they do. And sometimes it's about being strong enough to help others stand back up, even when they've hurt you. 2 weeks after Shiloh moved in, I stood in my kitchen watching her attempt to make breakfast. The smell of burning toast filled the air. "I'm sorry," she said, dumping another blackened slice into the trash. "I never had to cook before." "That's because you always had someone doing everything for you," I replied, then immediately regretted my tone when I saw her face fall. The doorbell rang, saving us from the awkward moment. It was Drew, carrying coffee and proper breakfast from our favorite cafe. "My hero," I said, kissing him hello. "I figured you two could use a real breakfast," he said, setting down the bags. "Especially today." Today, Jeremy's arraignment. Shiloh's hands trembled as she reached for a coffee cup. "You don't have to go," I told her. "Yes, I do." She straightened her shoulders. "I need to see it for myself." My phone buzzed. Mara was calling. "Turn on the news. You've been nominated for Businesswoman of the Year." Drew had already grabbed the remote. There I was on screen, my professional headshot next to the award logo. The announcer was talking about my company's meteoric rise and innovative approach to digital transformation. "Sophia," Shiloh whispered, "that's amazing." Before I could respond, my mother burst through the door. She still had a key from checking on my plants. "Have you seen the news?" she demanded, then stopped short seeing us all in the kitchen. "Oh, you're having breakfast together." "Mom," Shiloh started, but our mother cut her off. "I don't understand how you can sit here playing happy families when your husband is being arraigned for fraud today." "Ex-husband," I corrected automatically. "And whose fault is that?" Mom snapped. "If you hadn't rushed into divorce?" "That's enough," Drew said firmly, stepping forward. "Sophia's nomination is a huge achievement. That's what we're celebrating today." Mom's face crumpled. "Everything's falling apart. The neighbors won't stop talking. Your father can't sleep. And now you're getting awards while your sister's life is in shambles." "Actually," Shiloh spoke up, her voice stronger than I'd heard in weeks. "Sophia's helping me put my life back together, which is more than I deserve after what I did." The room fell silent. It was the first time Shiloh had acknowledged her role in everything in front of our mother. "What you did?" Mom looked confused. "What do you mean?" "Mom," I warned, but Shiloh shook her head. "She needs to know." Shiloh took a deep breath. "Jeremy was in love with me before he married Sophia. That's why their marriage ended." Mom sank into a kitchen chair. "What?" "And Shiloh's voice cracked. "I loved him too. We betrayed Sophia in the worst possible way. The silence that followed was deafening." My mother looked between us, her face going through a range of emotions. "The arraignment starts in an hour," Drew said quietly. "We should get going." The courthouse was packed with reporters. As we walked in, I heard whispers. "That's his ex-wife. And her sister. The one he left her for." Shiloh gripped my arm. "I can't do this." "Yes, you can." I surprised myself by taking her hand. "We both can." Jeremy looked small in his orange jumpsuit. When he saw us enter, his eyes locked on Shiloh, then darted to me. I stared back, feeling nothing but pity. The charges were read: fraud, embezzlement, conspiracy. Jeremy pleaded not guilty, but his voice shook. As they led him away, he called out, "Shiloh, please." She started to step forward, but I held her back. "Don't." "But he's drowning, Shiloh. Don't let him drag you down with him." Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed us. "Sophia, how does it feel to see your ex-husband facing prison?" "Shiloh, are you still in a relationship with the defendant?" Drew pushed through them, creating a path. Ms. Foster has no comment except to say she's honored to be nominated for Businesswoman of the Year. Her focus remains on growing her successful company and contributing to the business community. Back at my apartment, Shiloh collapsed onto the couch. "I can't believe this is my life now." "It doesn't have to be," I said, sitting beside her. "You're smart, Shiloh. You can rebuild just like I did." "How can you even want to help me after everything?" "Because watching you suffer doesn't make me feel better. Being successful does." I handed her my laptop. "I have a junior position opening up in my company. The pay's not great, but it's a start." She stared at me, then at Drew, who nodded encouragingly. "Why?" she whispered. "Because karma's done its job," I said. "Now it's time for grace." Drew wrapped his arm around me as Shiloh began to cry. Outside, camera flashes still lit up the street, but in here, in this moment, something broken was slowly beginning to heal. The boardroom fell silent as I finished presenting our quarterly results. Shiloh sat in the back, taking notes. She'd been with the company for 3 months now, starting at the bottom just like everyone else. "Impressive numbers," said Marcus, our biggest investor. "The Businesswoman of the Year nomination is well-deserved." As people filed out, Kylie rushed in. "Sophia, there's something you need to see." She pulled up an email on her tablet. "Owen's wife sent this. It's proof that Jeremy was planning to steal company assets even before your wedding." My hands gripped the edge of the table. "Why is she sending this now?" "Jeremy's trying to cut a deal with prosecutors. She's afraid he'll pin everything on Owen." Shiloh appeared at my side, her face pale. "There's more," she said quietly. "Jeremy's been writing me letters from jail. This morning, he sent one saying he has evidence that could hurt you." "What evidence?" Drew asked, walking in. "He's bluffing." "I don't know," Shiloh replied. "But he's desperate. The preliminary hearing is tomorrow." My phone buzzed. "Mara. Turn on the news now." Kylie already had it streaming on the boardroom screen. Owen stood outside the courthouse, microphones thrust in his face. Evidence that Sophia Foster orchestrated this whole thing for revenge. She planted false information, manipulated records. "That's ridiculous," Drew snapped. "We have to respond." "No," I said firmly. "We don't." "Sophia." Shiloh touched my arm. "I should testify. Tell them about the letters, about how Jeremy confessed everything to me." "Absolutely not." I turned to face her. "You've worked too hard to rebuild your life. I won't let you throw it away for this." "But..." "She's right," Drew said. "We handle this legally, through proper channels." Trisha burst into the room. "Emergency board meeting in an hour. Owen's accusations are causing stock volatility." I straightened my jacket. "Then we better be ready." As everyone filed out to prepare, Shiloh stayed behind. "I need to show you something." She pulled out her phone, showing me a text from Jeremy. "Tell Sophia I'm sorry. For everything. But I can't go to prison." "He's going to do something stupid," she whispered. Before I could respond, Kylie rushed back in. "Sophia, reporters are in the lobby. Lots of them." "Use the back exit," Drew said, grabbing my briefcase. "I'll handle the press." In the parking garage, Shiloh and I hurried toward my car. A figure stepped out from behind a pillar, Jeremy's father. "Please," he said, his voice breaking. "Help my son." "Mr. Lawson," I started, but he cut me off. "He's sick, Sophia. He needs treatment, not prison. If you speak on his behalf..." "Your son committed fraud," I said firmly. "He stole people's life savings. That's not illness, that's choice." He loves you both so much, the old man pleaded, looking between Shiloh and me. It tore him apart. No, Shiloh stepped forward. He loved himself more than anyone. That's why we're all here. My phone rang. Trisha again. The board's waiting. Where are you? On my way. I turned to Jeremy's father. I'm sorry, but I can't help. Back in the boardroom, I faced the board with steady confidence. Owen's accusations are desperate attempts by a guilty man to create reasonable doubt. Our records are immaculate, our practices transparent. And what about the personal angle? One board member asked. The revenge narrative? My personal history with Jeremy is well documented, I replied, as is my company's success. One has nothing to do with the other. My phone buzzed with a text from Drew. Jeremy just posted a video online. It's going viral. Kylie was already pulling it up on the screen. Jeremy's face appeared, haggard and desperate. I need to confess something, he said. Sophia isn't responsible for anything. I destroyed my own life. I betrayed the only woman who ever truly loved me, hurt her in the worst possible way, and then tried to blame her for my downfall. She's innocent. I'm the guilty one. In everything. The boardroom erupted in murmurs. Shiloh gripped my hand under the table. Well, Trisha said, standing up. I believe that settles it. Shall we proceed with business as usual? Later that night, in my office, Drew found me staring out the window. You okay? He asked, wrapping his arms around me. I thought revenge would feel better than this, I admitted, but watching everyone self-destruct, it just feels empty. That's because you're better than revenge, he said, turning me to face him. You built something real, something lasting. My phone lit up with a final text from Jeremy. I'm turning myself in tomorrow. No deals, no accusations, just the truth. I'm sorry for everything. I deleted the message without responding. Some chapters needed to stay closed. Come on, Drew said, taking my hand. Let's go home. The lights of the awards ceremony ballroom sparkled like stars as I adjusted my evening gown backstage. Drew straightened his bow tie beside me. Ready? He asked, offering his arm. Almost. I checked my phone one last time. A message from Shiloh. You've got this, sis. We're all in the audience cheering for you. The past month had been a whirlwind. Jeremy and Owen had both pleaded guilty, accepting plea deals that would put them behind bars for at least a decade. Their company had been dissolved, but we'd managed to save most of their employees' jobs by absorbing their legitimate contracts. Sophia? The event coordinator appeared. You're on in 5 minutes. Drew squeezed my hand. I have something to ask you before you go out there. Now? I raised an eyebrow. He dropped to one knee, pulling out a small velvet box. I was going to wait until after, but, Sophia, this past year has shown me what real strength looks like, what real love looks like. Will you marry me? Before I could answer, Mara burst through the curtain. Sophia, they need you on stage. Oh. She stopped short, seeing Drew on his knee. Yes, I said quickly, my heart racing. Yes, but we need to finish this conversation later. Drew slipped the ring on my finger just as the announcer's voice boomed. And now our businesswoman of the year. I walked onto the stage to thunderous applause. In the front row, I saw Shiloh sitting with our parents, all of them beaming. Mara and Kylie were there too, giving me thumbs up. And Drew, my new fiancé, standing in the wings with that proud smile. Thank you, I began, adjusting the microphone. A year ago, I thought my life was over. My marriage had imploded, my family was fractured, and my trust in people was shattered. The audience fell silent. But sometimes, what feels like an ending is really a beginning. Sometimes, the worst betrayal can lead to the greatest growth. I stand here not because I sought revenge, but because I chose to rise above it. Movement at the back of the hall caught my eye. Jeremy's father had slipped in, standing quietly by the door. Success isn't about watching others fail. It's about building something meaningful from the ashes of disappointment. It's about choosing grace when bitterness would be easier. Shiloh wiped tears from her eyes as our mother held her hand. This award isn't just mine. It belongs to every person who helped me rebuild. My incredible team, my supportive family, I glanced at Drew, my future husband, who just proposed backstage 5 minutes ago. The audience erupted in cheers and laughter. But most importantly, this award belongs to every person who's ever been betrayed, hurt, or knocked down. You can get back up. You can rebuild. You can succeed not despite your pain, but because of how it shaped you. As I accepted the award, my phone buzzed in my clutch. Later, I would see it was a message from Jeremy. Congratulations. You deserve every success. I'm sorry I couldn't see your worth when I had the chance. At the after party, Shiloh hugged me tight. That speech was incredible. I meant every word, I said, looking at her, including the part about grace. Sophia, our mother interrupted. Jeremy's father is here. He'd like to speak with you. I found him by the bar, looking older than I remembered. Congratulations, he said softly. Thank you for coming. Jeremy watched your speech. They streamed it at the facility. He twisted his hands together. He wanted you to know he's getting help. Real help this time. I nodded, not trusting myself to speak. And, he continued, he hopes someday you'll both find it in your hearts to forgive him. Someday, I said carefully, but not today. Drew appeared at my side, protective as always. Everything okay? Yes, I said, turning to him. Everything's perfect. Later that night, as the party wound down, I found myself on the balcony with Shiloh. She was looking at the city lights, lost in thought. I got a job offer, she said suddenly. A good one, with a magazine in Chicago. Are you going to take it? I think I need to. Build my own life, like you did. She turned to me. Thank you, Sophia, for showing me how to be strong. You always were strong, I told her. You just forgot for a while. Drew joined us, wrapping his arm around my waist. Ready to go home? I looked at my sister, then at my fiancé, then at the glittering city below. A year ago, I thought revenge would heal me. Instead, I found healing and forgiveness. Not for those who hurt me, but for myself. Yes, I said, taking both their hands. Let's go home. The morning sun streamed through my office windows as I finished typing the last sentence of my memoir. Drew knocked softly before entering, carrying 2 cups of coffee. Still working on the book? He asked, setting my cup down. Just finished, actually. I closed my laptop. Just in time for Shiloh's flight. My sister was flying in from Chicago for the weekend. Her magazine had become one of the most successful digital publications in the Midwest. We'd rebuilt our relationship slowly, carefully, like setting a broken bone. Miss Foster? My assistant poked her head in. There's someone here to see you. Says it's important. Owen's wife stood in the reception area, clutching her purse. I'm sorry to come unannounced, she said, but Jeremy asked me to give you this. She held out an envelope. I don't want... Please, she interrupted. He's completed his rehabilitation program. He's different now. I took the envelope but didn't open it. How's Owen? Serving his time, she said quietly. Unlike Jeremy, he's still in denial about everything. After she left, Drew watched me stare at the envelope. You don't have to read it. Yes, I do. I opened it carefully. Inside was a handwritten letter. Dear Sophia, I'm not writing to ask forgiveness. I don't deserve it. I'm writing to thank you. Your success showed me what real strength looks like. Your grace showed me what real character looks like. I'll spend the rest of my life trying to be worthy of having once been loved by someone like you. Jeremy. My phone buzzed. Shiloh had landed. Want me to pick her up? Drew offered. No, I need to do this. At the airport, Shiloh ran to hug me, looking healthy and confident. I have news, she said as we walked to my car. I met someone. Tell me everything. He's kind, honest, successful. She paused. And he knows everything about my past. About Jeremy, about what I did to you. He says our mistakes don't define us. He's right. I handed her Jeremy's letter. Read this when you're ready. Back at my office, I found Mara waiting with Kylie. The publisher called, Mara announced. They want to fast-track your book. They think it could help a lot of people. Speaking of helping people, Kylie added, the women's shelter loved your proposal. They want to partner with us on the business training program for abuse survivors. I looked around my office, at the Businesswoman of the Year award, at the photo of Drew and me at our engagement party, at the sister I'd almost lost but found again. Sophia? Drew appeared in the doorway. Your mother's here. Mom walked in, carrying a familiar-looking box. I found this in the attic, she said, setting it down. Your old journals from right after everything. I opened the box, finding the tear-stained pages I'd poured my heart into during those dark days. I was so angry then, I said softly. You had every right to be, Mom replied. But look what you built from that anger. Shiloh picked up one of the journals. We should include these in your book. Show people how far you've come. How far we've all come, I corrected. My phone lit up with a message from Trisha. Just heard Jeremy's getting released early for good behavior. You okay? I looked at Drew, who read the message over my shoulder. Whatever you need, he said quietly. I need to finish my book, I replied, opening my laptop again. People need to know that rock bottom can become a foundation. Shiloh read the final paragraph over my shoulder. Revenge is like holding on to a burning coal, hoping the other person feels the heat. True power comes from letting go, not because they deserve forgiveness, but because you deserve peace. My story isn't about the betrayal anymore. It's about what I built after the breaking. It's perfect, she whispered. Drew gathered everyone for dinner at our favorite restaurant, the same one where Owen had once begged for help. As we celebrated Shiloh's success and my book deal, I realized something profound. Happiness isn't about getting even. It's about getting better. To new beginnings, Drew proposed a toast. And to old wounds that became wisdom, I added. Shiloh raised her glass last. To sisters who became stronger than their scars. As we clinked glasses, I felt the weight of Jeremy's letter in my purse. Tomorrow, I would file it away with my old journals, not to forget, but to remember how far I'd come. Some chapters end in tragedy, others in triumph. Mine had ended in transformation, and that was the sweetest revenge of all.